to TV Africa News. This is Africa Today. My name is Najima Luima, but first are the headlines.
In the news today, National Unity Platform President Robert Kyagulanyi questions NBS to clarify where they got in mandate to announce the electoral results. Katikkiro launches the committee for the 66th Kabaka's birthday celebrations. Also today, Rwanda protests UK ban. And in sports, the Uganda under-20 national team, the Hippos, train for a mini tournament in Tanzania. These and more stories in our bulletin.
And now, the news in detail. The Katikkiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, has today officially launched a team that will be organizing the 66th Kabaka's birthday celebrations. The team is led by Owechitiwa Prosperous Kavma, who is the chairperson, and others. Let's have more.
While launching the preparations and the organizing committee at Bulange Mengo, Katikkiro Mayiga revealed that the Kabaka's 66th celebrations theme is about fighting HIV/AIDS, especially in youths.
Bwagasabasajja buli mwaka abantu ba Buganda naddala abavubuka nga mmwe sirawo munnamawulire atali muvubuka abantu ba Buganda naddala abavubuka bongera okutegeera amakulu g'empagi eziwaniridde Buganda.
Katikkiro said they chose health because the Kingdom's strategic plan is more about health of Kabaka's people, especially the youths.
Fernando zatumanyi kaakati ntuli kukawefebe wakuzza Buganda ku ntikko. Kyokka kino tetuyinza kukituukako okuggyako ng'abantu mu Buganda balamu bulungi. Mujjukira nti okuva mu 2014 okutuuka 2016 twali mu kaweefube wa kulwanyisa kirwadde kya kutonnya.
2020 to 2021 is about fighting against HIV/AIDS, where this year the youths will be leading the cause. He also reminded the public that UNAIDS, an HIV-fighting body, in 2017 named Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi as the ambassador in the fight against AIDS in the East and Central Africa.
So nga tulwanyisa Mukenenya mu kujjukira amazaalibwa ga Kabaka omwaka guno n'omwaka ogujja, n'era kye twakola omwaka oguwedde. Mukenenya akwata abato n'abakulu, kyokka asinga kwegiriisiza mu bavubuka kubanga be basinga okwetaba mu nsonga z'ekikulu. Awo nno omubala gw'omwaka guno gugamba nti abavubuka mubeere basaale mu kulwanyisa Mukenenya.
So people should listen to the Kabaka's call and always embrace them with the procedures of fighting against AIDS.
Moving on, the National Unity Platform President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, aka Bobby Wine, has clarified on the letter he wrote to NBS TV about announcing electoral results. Kyagulanyi questions NBS TV to clarify on where they got the mandate of announcing the electoral results, yet the EC had not authorized any person to do so. Let's have more on this story.
In his remarks during the press conference at his home in Magere, Kyagulanyi hinted out the nullifications that NBS media used in reporting and tallying the electoral results. He says NBS was used to announce results in favor of Mr. Museveni of NRM against him.
About the letter that I wrote to the NBS TV protesting their biased nature and their compromising nature in reporting about the elections. First and foremost, I want to remind you that that was a protest letter, and in my own analysis and the analysis of my team, that is the most decent brotherly and human thing that we could do to communicate our dissatisfaction. So I stand by every word in that letter, and I reassert it that we have it as a policy, as a value, to be clear and be assertive whenever anybody is wrong. If we can call General Museveni to order, we can call anybody to order, and we remind all Ugandans that we can and must also be called to order. That is what we believe. When you are wrong, no matter who you are.
Loop also denies allegations of mobilizing Ugandans to strike tomorrow.
Ebadde bitambuzibwa titwayise abantu bayimirize emirimu n'ebirala ebifaanana bwe bitu. Ebyo nno nze nasoose kulaba mukyala n'abakoba nga yabyogera. Owokubiri nazzeemu kulaba mwami Rokeeki nga yabyogera. Bano abayekera abatufugira ku mudumu gw'emmundu njagala mujjukire nti yebadde nga enkola yaabwe. Ne mu gy'ekinaana bayambalanga uniform za gavumenti ne bagenda ne batemula abantu nga baagala okussaawo enjogera. N'olw'ensonga eyo, ebyo poliisi byeyogera, tusaba bannamawulire mugibuuze.
According to Kyagulanyi, security agencies are continuing to arrest his people countrywide. However, the party is fighting tooth and nail to rescue them using the phone number they have put out to people to call for help.
Are still being held by the state illegally. We are saying these people are innocent, they have committed no offense. Okay? For heaven's sake, wanting change, siding with one presidential candidate who is not the incumbent is not a crime, like Mr. Tibuhabura is trying to make it seem. So we insist that they are innocent, and we are hoping, like the cars were let go, these people should be released.
He explained that security agencies are still targeting them everywhere with his people, but he won't give up. Kyagulanyi disgusted the action of Uganda prisons for cutting off hair and beards of his people, including Eddie Mutwe and Nubian Lee. He says this was unlawful and against the rights of his people, yet the Indians and other nationals were left free with their hair and beards.
Detention centers. Many of you saw some of our comrades, like our Secretary General said, they could not walk when they came to court. They've lost their rights, their hair has been shaved off. Interestingly, they are being treated even worse than non-Ugandans, because I was informed that while Nubian Lee, Eddie Mutwe and all others were subjected to compulsory hair and beard shaving, even against their will, the non-Ugandans, some of them white and others Indians, are actually remaining with their right to maintain their hair. That is very, very disturbing to see that there is discrimination against our own selves in our own prisons.
On Kalangala Saga, where his vehicles and members were arrested, Kyagulanyi says the vehicles were handed over without the equipment they were using. He concluded by appealing to all Ugandans to come out in big numbers and vote on Wednesday.
Tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your democratic right, not just a right, it is your duty to go and elect your leaders. So no matter the challenges that we are going through, please turn up and vote. Bad leaders are chosen by voters who do not vote.
Moving on still, the National Drug Authority has closed over 600 drug shops throughout the country which are operating without a license. This was revealed while releasing the financial year report of 2019-2020 in Kampala. Let's have more.
In the spirit of accountability to the population, the National Drug Authority has registered a number of notable improvements in the strategic plan implementing period 2016 to 2021. Dr. James Tamale, the head of regions, hinted out some of the achievements the authority has reached on during this financial year 2019-2020. NDA managed to test over 2,100 samples of medicines, medical devices and other healthcare products as compared to 1,893 in the financial year 2018-2019.
Financial year 2019-2020, there was successful implementation of measures that supported NDA core regulatory activities, which benefited the country in improving access to and availability of human, veterinary and other healthcare products. Overall, NDA tested 2,100 samples of medicines, medical devices, and other healthcare products, as compared to 1,893 in the financial year 2018-2019. This was attributable to qualified personnel, robust equipment, and a well-established and maintained quality management system.
According to Mr. Tamale, the authority also carried out operations countrywide on the drug shops which don't have operating licenses, and many were closed. He appealed to all citizens of the country to report all the captives so that they are arrested and charged. Over the years, the National Drug Authority did align its internal resources and strategies to effectively address the population's rights to good health by ensuring availability at all times of essential, safe, effective and quality medicines in line with its vision of Uganda with safe, effective and quality medicine and healthcare products. For TV Africa News, Nalgo Muyingo reporting.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. Now, in our business news today, Emirates Airlines said Monday it would make daily deliveries of coronavirus vaccines to countries with low storage capacities as part of an initiative to accelerate global jab distribution. Let's take a look.
The Dubai-based company, the Middle East's largest carrier, will use both its cargo and passenger fleets to deliver vaccines to countries without the means to stockpile vaccines. Deputy Head of Emirates Cargo Division Nabil Alma said the majority of these countries have storage problems while they have the capacity, adding that the initiative involves most developing countries in the Middle East, Africa and the Indian subcontinent. Dubai, a key transport hub, announced the initiative on Sunday to accelerate the delivery of coronavirus vaccines, particularly to developed nations, after the World Health Organization warned against abandoning the world's poor. The Vaccine Logistics Alliance includes Emirates Airlines and DP World, making use of the global logistics giants network of ports and the city-states airports, according to Dubai authorities. According to the company's media officer, the alliance will support the World Health Organization's COVAX initiative, the globally pooled vaccine procurement and distribution effort to disperse 2 billion vaccine doses. Dubai said the alliance will work with pharmaceutical manufacturers, forwarders and the government agencies to transport vaccines, some which have to be kept at very cold temperatures. Since the start of the pandemic, the wealthy United Arab Emirates, which has sought to expand its diplomatic influence, has highlighted its international humanitarian assistance efforts. The Gulf state, which includes Dubai and 6 other emirates, itself has suffered a spike in cases after the holiday period after aggressively opening up to tourism. It was among the first launch a vast vaccination campaign in December for its population of nearly 10 million and has administered 3 million doses to more than a quarter of its population. Secondly, only to Israel in the global race, according to the German data agency Statista.
In our health news today, Rwanda has expressed displeasure with the United Kingdom after London banned travelers from the East African country, citing the need to stop the spread of mutant strains of COVID-19. Let's have more on this story.
Government has taken some action. Rwanda is commended as being a very good example globally in fighting this pandemic, and kudos to health workers and all the actors in that field.
Last Thursday, the UK's Transport Minister announced that his country had added Rwanda, Burundi and the United Emirates to its coronavirus travel ban list with effect from Friday, January 29th. Grant Shapps, the Secretary for Transport, explained on his Twitter that the ban means people who have been in or transited through these countries will be denied entry, except British, Irish and third country nationals with residence rights who must self-isolate for 10 days at home. In its statement, pushing back against the ban, Kigali argued that its pandemic control efforts had been open and consistent. Rwanda's overall response to COVID-19, including testing, surveillance, contact tracing, containment, treatment and reporting, has been consistent, transparent and collaborated by third-party entities. Authorities recently placed the capital Kigali under 15-day lockdown after a surge in cases. Rwanda is one of the few countries that require a PCR COVID-19 test for all departing passengers and all those in transit. Kigali's national carrier, Rwanda Air, has been operating flights to London Heathrow 3 times a week since last October.
In our international news today, a third endangered Rothschild's giraffe has been rescued from Rongicharo Island on Kenya's Lake Baringo. Let's have more.
As water levels rise around the lake, the land continues to shrink, threatening the survival of trapped animals. There are still 6 giraffes remaining that will be moved in the coming months. They had been trapped in Lake Baringo following a bout of flooding caused by heavy rainfall. Rothschilds are one of the largest of the 9 subspecies of the giraffe and can reach heights of nearly 6 meters.
We moved one more giraffe in addition to the previous 2 which were moved early December. This is because over time we've trained the giraffe to feed within the barge. They got used to feeding and it was easy to move that giraffe without tranquilizing it or use of any medicine.
The giraffes were originally homed on the island in 2011 in order to protect them from poachers. There are thought to be fewer than 2,000 Rothschild's giraffes left in the wild, making them one of the most endangered giraffe subspecies. Naitera explained that the target is to move these animals by May or April. Today, fewer than 3,000 Rothschild's giraffe are left in Africa, with about 800 in Kenya.
Still in international news, the newly appointed Chief of Defense Staff in Nigeria will have to prove he can handle the Islamic insurgency that has killed over 36,000 people. The Nigerian Military High Command met security forces in the northeast town of Maiduguri on Sunday in an effort to lift spirits in decade-long crackdown on the Islamist insurgency. Our reporter has more on this story.
These last 3 months, militants of the Boko Haram and Islamic State in the West African province, Islamist groups have increased their attacks in the northern regions of Nigeria. Borno State, where the defense chiefs have gathered, is known for being a stronghold for militants. Despite President Muhammadu Buhari's promise to crush the jihadist rebellion, Islamist groups still control vast rural areas and strategic roads where attacks and kidnappings are increasing. With many criticizing the strategy of the previous High Command, the newly named Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Leo Iraba, will have to prove he can handle the Islamic insurgency that has killed over 36,000 people and displaced an additional 2 million.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back.
Tunaomba serikali ikusanye kodi. Hilo tu. Hatuombi serikali ilinde viwanda vyetu kwa namna nyingine yoyote isipokuwa ikusanye kodi basi. Kama itakusanya kodi, basi nguo hizi zinazoingia bidhaa zinazoingia zisiingie bila kulipa kodi. Zilipe kodi, hatuombi zaidi hapo.
Julius Kambarage Nyerere was born on April 13th, 1922 in Butima, on the eastern shore of Lake Victoria in northwest Tanganyika. His father was the chief of the small Zanika tribe. He was 12 before he started school at Musoma. Later, he transferred for his secondary education to the Tabora Government Secondary School. His intelligence was quickly recognized by the Roman Catholic fathers who taught him. He went on, with their help, to train as a teacher at Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda. On gaining his certificate, he taught for 3 years and then went on a government scholarship to study history and political economy for his Master of Arts and at the University of Edinburgh. He was the first Tanzanian to study at a British university and only the second to gain a university degree outside Africa, in Edinburgh. Partly through his encounter with the Fabian thinking, Nyerere began to develop his particular vision of connecting socialism with the African communal living. On his return to Tanganyika, Nyerere was forced by the colonial authorities to make a choice between his political activities and his teaching. He was reported as saying that he was a schoolmaster by choice and a politician by accident. Working to bring a number of different nationalist functions into one grouping, he achieved this in 1954 with the formation of TANU, the Tanganyika African National Union. He became president of the union, a post he held until 1977, entered the Legislative Council in 1958, and became chief minister in 1960. A year later, Tanganyika was granted internal self-government and Nyerere became premier. Full independence came in December 1961 and he was elected president in 1962. Nyerere's integrity, ability as a political orator and organizer, and a readiness to work with different groupings was a significant factor in independence being achieved without bloodshed. In this, he was helped by the cooperative attitude of the last British governor, Sir Richard Toobolt, in 1964. Following a coup in Zanzibar and an attempt coup in Tanganyika itself, Nyerere negotiated with the new leaders in Zanzibar and agreed to absorb them into the union government. The result was the creation of the Republic of Tanzania. A committed Pan-Africanist, Nyerere provided a home for a number of African liberation movements, including the African National Congress ANC and the Pan-African Congress PAC of South Africa. Frelimo when seeking to overthrow Portuguese rule in Mozambique. Zandler and Robert Mugabe in their struggle to unseat the white regime in southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. He also opposed the brutal regime of Idi Amin in Uganda, following a border invasion by Amin in 1978. In 1985, Nyerere gave up the presidency but remained as chair of the party, Chama cha Mapinduzi. He gradually withdrew from active politics, retiring to his farm in Butima. In 1990, he relinquished his chairmanship of CCM but remained active on the world stage as the chair of the Intergovernmental South Center. One of his last high-profile actions was as the chief mediator in the Burundi conflict in 1996. He died in a London hospital of leukemia on October 14, 1999.
Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News. With the right to know, in our sports news today, the Uganda national team for under 20, the Hippos, has carried out a double session training today at National Stadium Complex. The training aimed at preparing the players for a mini tournament ahead of Sekafa under 20 finals. Let's have more.
We finished our last training. We've been trying to sort out the problems we could see tomorrow. I think we've worked well on attacking. We want to know how good we will be in order to score goals. We wanted to see how dangerous we shall be when we want to look for the goal. We need to be like hunters. We need to know the objective which we want when we lost the ball, and that will be pressing. We need to press a lot to see that Copper does not use the ball so much. Once they use the ball so well, we shall get into problems like getting tired, losing concentration. So we need to see that we own the possession a lot to have the advantage in attack.
Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top stories.
In the news today, National Unity Platform President Robert Chagulanyi questions NBS to clarify where they got a mandate to announce the electoral results. Katikiro launches the committee for the 66th Kabaka's birthday celebrations. Also today, Rwanda protests UK ban. And in sports, the Uganda under-20 national team, the Hippos, train for a mini tournament in Tanzania.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please stay tuned. More programming coming your way.
This is Africa, and that was the news.